Good evening, guys. I hope you're enjoying your sleep out. Tonight we're going to talk a bit about shelter. My name's Ian. I run a company called Embers Bushcraft. We've run that for 6 years, and primarily that's about education and using outdoor living to to access potential skills in young people. Working with charities, a lot of schools, private work, and tonight we're going to sort of look at the big part of your evening, which is going to be sleeping out under the stars, hopefully, or in your living room, or wherever you've got access to somewhere. Okay.
Hi everyone, we're Winchester SteetReach, and we're also here this evening with Ian to learn how to build the shelters that you're all going to be building tonight. Hope you are having a lot of fun so far and enjoying some of the other content, and you've been raising loads of money for such a great charity. We are a youth-based charity, Winchester SteetReach, as I said, and we have an office based at Trinity, so we work quite closely with them, and that's why we want to be here to support them today. And we also, like Ian, know the benefits of getting outdoors, having fun, learning new skills, and how that can really help well-being for young people and older alike. So I'm Lottie.
I'm Lauren.
Damon.
I'm Emily.
Some of you might know us from our detached youth work in Winchester, and we might be new to some of you too. So thanks for watching and have fun.
So we are going to attempt to make some shelters. All these guys are, so the idea, firstly, is to talk about why we need a shelter. I think most people will understand that sheltering outdoors is really about protecting ourselves from the elements, okay? Keeping safe, keeping warm, and having a shelter is going to be integral to that. Also, if you're in a natural world and you want to be out camping, it might be about concealment, not being seen for whatever reason, and ultimately, I think anybody know when you go camping, if you're under a canvas, if you're in a tent, it's that kind of, there's a comfort there, that kind of that womb feeling, I think, and the biggest reason as well to do it is because you can and it's fun. So I hope you're doing it this evening. So we're going to attempt a few different ones. We're going to talk about some knots. We're going to talk about some maybe the materials that we'll need. If you look around, there's sort of the A-frame. We've got a lean-to, which has kind of got an embedded ground sheet, which is really important. We've got somebody on the one already. This is our lead-to, which is a great one for a bigger group because we're maximising the size of that tarp or that material that we have. And then if you want to kind of convert it to a bit of a natural combination, we can kind of use sticks and things, and which is like a ridge pole. And you might have things in your garden or in your shed to utilise instead. You can do it with broom handles, the sheets, you can do it curtains, whatever you've got access to. And the ridge lines, we're going to use wire ropes and talk about some knots. But in your household, you may have just string, you might be able to tie sheets together. Just think outside the box and anything you can use to just put a tarp up, sleep under in the evening, and we'll start making. So you're going to have your what we call a ridge line, and as I said before, that's either find whatever you've got in your home. If you're lucky enough to have a bit of rope, perfect. So to create a ridge line, which needs to be tight, because you want to get your tarp and you want to be weatherproof and windproof, you need to find 2 fixed points in your garden, in the woods if you're lucky. Obviously get permission first, and if you're in your house, then you want to do it inside. Just look for a door handle, a window latch or something. Just 2 fixed points you can put attention on the ridge line. So we're going to do our first knot, and the first knot is what we call an anchor knot. Okay, so this is called a Siberian hitch. I think one of Ramir's favourite, I think. But basically, it's designed for when you're in cold weather, you wear mittens. So if you take those mittens off, you'll basically get frostbite. So the idea is that you never take those mittens off when you're doing your knot.
And you don't have to use your fingers, right?
And you don't use your fingers.
Never.
So Siberian hitch, I like to call it the, because it closes the knot, I like to call it the cowboy hitch as well. So you can pretend that's a pistol, but we'll stick with the Siberian. So this working end will just go over your hand. Okay, make sure there's enough there, and just roll it over once, like that, and then flip. Okay, so then you've got this loop. Then you take, just like that, and then you just take this loop here, and you push it through that loop, and then you take your ridge line, and you push it towards your tree. and you've got a nut.
Wow.
So now I can pull that, and that will take the tension. But what's beautiful about these ones, if you are camping out and you want to hang a hammock up, you can do both ends of this. The idea is that you snap it off.
Nice.
And it's a quick release knot, so you're away from camera really quickly. Obviously, when you're putting up your ridge line, you want to consider whether you've got a sheet or you've got access to a nice tarp or whatever, but you want to think about the size of that. If you do it too high, you end up with a really high tarp, and depending on the weather, you might want to make it low. If you are outdoors, the idea is to have a smaller space, you've got less area to warm when you're sleeping underneath it. So we'll stick with that one. We can show you another one quickly if you're, it's a bit easier. So again, working end, throw it over, turn its back, and just twizzle. Twizzle it around, and this is called a timber hitch. So back in the day when they used to do the logging, they would transport their logs across the rivers and the mud, and they would take it to the destination, and when they got to the end they would do these knots that they had to cut because they couldn't undo them because it was caked in mud. So somebody came up with this one, which is a timber hitch. So again, that's a great knot. When they got to the end, they just pulled that loop and they could just save all their ropes. So also they saved a fortune in ropes. So whichever knot you want to do. So we'll start with this one because that's my favourite. And then we've got, that's our fixed knot, okay? Anchor knot. Okay. So we're going to run it to our next fixed point. So obviously think about the length of rope or whatever you've got. Okay. So we want to take up as much of that tension as possible. The simplest knot we can do is 2 round turns and a half hitch. So we go round this tree, we take up that tension, and then we go back on the ridge line, and then we just pull tightly. So that's going to take a little bit of that tension up. So that's 1 round turn. So we go around that tree again, okay. Go over that ridge line, and then again, hold that tension all the way around, and once we get to the end, kind of throw it over here, and you want to make a hitch. Hold that tightly. Takes that up. Make another one. It's not a quick release knot. And you've got enough. So that's the simplest kind of tension knot you can do. Then we're going to do so we centralise this so we've got that midpoint so we know that when it rolls down, it's even. Okay. So we don't want it kind of pushing the pull in, so we're going to do a slip knot on this end. Okay. So we're going to make a figure of 4. Okay. So that one here, run to the side here. Okay, take this one underneath. So you come back through. Okay. Put it here. Like this. Okay. And do it again. Go underneath. Okay. And then lock that off tightly. Now this time you're going to go that way and do it twice this way. So go under this, back through this knot.
Back through it. Oh, okay. And then through here.
Yep. So pull it through. Once. And do it again. That's it.
Probably a bit loose, but
This one and pull it tight. Okay. So you put your first one. So now that's your slip knot.
okay.
Now you do the same that end. And that'll pull that tension up.
Thank you, Lottie. Right.
Okay. So you've got that fixed. What do we got to do? So when you peg out your corners like we did with this one, work on your diagonals.
Okay.
So you can literally pull diagonal and that'll tension it both ways. You can have a nice tight up.
That means you want the peg at like a 40-degree angle.
Right. So, thank you, Lottie.
Just consider this bit pulling off.
Oh yes,
That's
yes.
it. So just get it to low to the ground.
Okay.
Okay. Now pull at a diagonal, so we're working against this one.
That one's going to come out of the back.
Where was the peg?
Let me do it. Oh, sorry,
This
dude.
one.
Okay. Silly goose.
So this one will protect you from the elements a lot more because the wind and the rain won't come in.
Which one is the best shelter for rain?
For rain, I would say this one. So, this one we're making a lean-to shelter, but you're getting a ground sheet. So the importance of the ground sheet is obviously stop moisture coming up, and it's really important to be, as we were talking about, sleeping on something warm, because it's convection will just, the ground will suck the life out of you, and you're going to get really, really cold. So whether that's duvets and picnic blankets and all sorts of things, make sure you've got good bedding to sleep on for the evening. Okay? So this one, we're going to find the midpoint of the top. What we're going to need is some.
We need a peg.
You've got a look there. You need a look there. So you've got a peg there. So you can pull that out. So it's going to be taking up the tension of this first half. Don't worry about the bottom bit.
Okay.
Just take it out. And an open face lean-to.
Yeah.
For better weather. We combine a bit of nature and some resources, sheets and things like that. Obviously, if you're out in the garden, you want it to be waterproof. But what you're kind of looking for, so I've been to the woods and I'm looking for 2 white sticks. So the idea is I will grab my white sticks and I will interlock them. The great thing about this kind of design is that you don't need any fixed points, so you can do it in the middle of your living room, you can do it in the garden, you don't need any trees or anything to tie off, and no ridge lines. And then we need what we call a ridge pole. And our ridge pole will just sit in the middle of that join. Effectively, I can just let go. So we've got freestanding shelter straight away, so if you've got 4 hours to spare, you can go into the woods and you can design this and fill it up with loads of branches and things like that, and then cover it with leaf mulch, and they can be quite amazing to sleep under. And then effectively all we can do is going to throw your sheet or your tarp over the top. We can dump this off here, perhaps. You want to grab that, guys, over there.
Just stick this one in? So again, we'll just stick this one?
Yes, and then you're going to peg this out.
Thanks, Lauren.
Work from the diagonal one there. That's it. And now pull that tension up on the side. And it's a one-man shelter. If you make it big enough, you can get 2, 3. What's that? No, it's all freestanding. So those pegs are going to stabilise that pretty much. I'm just going to pull that diagonal again. You've got a really quick shelter with a bit of nature and a bit of man-made as well.
Nice. Okay. It actually went up so quickly, that's mad.
That is amazing.
Thank you everyone for everything you've done for Trinity and such a really important cause. It's been such a tough year, hasn't it, for everyone? And now we're slowly coming out of it, so hopefully we're all starting to have fun and enjoy your shelters. We've enjoyed making them here with Ian and Embers. And yeah, we're Winchester SteetReach. Please follow us on Instagram, keep following Trinity on Instagram, hashtag the big sleep out, and hopefully we might see you out and about in Winchester.
All night through.